have been left out there and giving up on love.
Yes, this was me. This is exactly how I went from heartbroken, always ending up in trauma-bond relationships and fearing I will never find true love, to healing on a very deep spiritual, emotional, and mental level, and attracting the healthy, all-in relationship I had been dreaming of my whole life. I'm going to share with you my entire self-healing spiritual approach that proved to be more effective than traditional therapy. My name is Divinia. I've been a life coach for over 15 years, and for the last 5, I've been exclusively helping women break free from toxic patterns. So if you're ready to hear your heart and attract extraordinary love into your life, you might want to follow this channel and subscribe for notifications. Let me start by giving you some perspective on my relationship history. I was never a casual dater, and since I always felt emotionally deprived while growing up, I always craved to find a long-term partner who will fill in this gap for me. Ever since my teenage years, I was dreaming of getting married and building a family that would give me this super warm, super cozy feeling in my heart. That feeling I craved so much but never got to experience in my childhood. You can imagine that not having such access to information like we do now in my early 20s, I wasn't aware of the fact that in order to manifest this type of healthy, loving relationship, I had to heal my inner child first and to start feeling whole and fulfilled on my own first. I got very much into spirituality, faith, and esoteric teachings when I was 21, so this is how I became very successful in my career. I gained financial and vocational freedom at a very young age, and I was also coaching and inspiring others on their journey, but still my love life was so unfulfilling. For 7 years, I stayed in a relationship where I felt like I was never enough. I was body shamed, I was criticized for everything, and I tried to compensate the lack of deep love and respect from my partner by overgiving and trying to earn his love. Of course, this is something I was conditioned to in my childhood. I was basically trying to change him by giving him unconditional love, which further undermined my own sense of self-worth and self-respect. This relationship ended by me being cheated on, and although I was determined to manifest happiness and love, I ended up in a rebound relationship with a full-blown narcissist. Think manipulation, him cheating, then excessively lying about it, gaslighting, physical, emotional, and mental abuse, the full package. And this is the experience that led me to my biggest breakthrough. This narcissistic trauma bond was the blessing in disguise that inspired me to put all my esoteric, spiritual, psychology, and astrology knowledge into action and heal my heart and life on a whole other level. This narcissistic trauma bond was the spiritual gift that also led me to my true mission in life, to help women become generational trauma breakers by healing their own toxic relationship pattern. Let me tell you how I did it, so that you can too heal your heart and your love life just by following my steps. The first and most important step was to end the victim mentality mindset as soon as I was able to exit the relationship, and believe me, I know how hard it is to exit a trauma bond. It took me 3 years and a big push from my family and friends to finally do that, but as soon as I ended the relationship, I stopped focusing on his toxic traits, on his toxic behaviors, and on all the things that he did to me. Instead, I poured all this attention back onto me. I focused on the spiritual reasons behind this experience and on the shadows that I had to accept and transform in order to truly heal. I was determined to become a generational trauma breaker and to prevent passing this trauma onto my future children. So first and foremost, I developed deep faith in the truth that my ex was not an abuser and I was not a victim. We were just two souls tied by a karmic relationship for the sake of our own spiritual growth and evolution. Being on earth in physical body already means that we are meant to experience duality, and only through duality we can appreciate the light and we can go back to our initial state of divinity and unconditional love. Our higher self was made in the image of the Creator, But through our free will, we have fallen, and only through trials and challenges we can evolve and return to the original light of the Creator, which is unconditional, pure love and light. If you go beyond your ego self in your limited mind, you will too see that with your spiritual senses, that your narcissistic ex is not an abuser. They're a soul who also needs to learn a spiritual lesson. They may also be someone who got the same toxic treatment from you in a past lifetime. Or they may be a soul who loves you so much that in this lifetime they agreed to sacrifice themselves and play the villain for the sake of your evolution. In any case, this doesn't mean that you should stay or tolerate their behavior. No. Most definitely break contact and detach from them. All this means is that you have to do the inner work that is required from you. You need to practice forgiveness and to learn your lesson. And the most important take from going through a narcissistic trauma bond or through any type of very painful relationship experience is that God loves you so much. He wants you to open your heart and experience extraordinary love so much that He allowed this trauma bonding experience to draw your attention and make you do the healing work. This type of extreme emotional pain is happening for you. It's not a punishment. It's a means to grabbing your attention and guiding you towards the divine love your soul craves for. Once I settled into this truth, I started doing intense shadow work to transform the toxic traits within me that were a vibrational match to my narcissistic ex. But I gave this practice a spiritual twist. Instead of simply digging into my wounds, I actively practiced self-compassion and focused on developing my virtues. Let me explain. First, I wrote a list of the most toxic traits of my narcissistic ex. For example, lying. He would just keep lying no matter how much evidence I gave him that he wasn't telling the truth. So at first it felt counterintuitive that I would attract such a person. Considering that I thought of myself as an honest, loyal person, how am I a vibrational match to lying? I had never cheated in my relationships, and I always tried to speak with integrity and truth in all of my personal and professional interactions, and still, when I dug deeper, I realized that I was lying to myself on so many occasions. And by living in self-delusion and twisting things in my head, I was unconsciously misleading others too. By digging deeper and being very honest with myself, I realized that I didn't start this relationship by being 100% honest with myself, because in my gut I knew that this person didn't have the same values as me when it came to relationships. I knew it, yet I twisted things in my head, in which way I was misleading myself and I was misleading him in a way as well. Now, can you see what I was doing? I literally took each and every of his toxic traits and I dissected it. Like a detective, I started searching for this very same trait in my own personality and in my own behaviors. I was brutally honest, but also brutally loving with myself, because I immediately took action by becoming extremely aware of myself. In every single one of my relationships, I started asking myself, am I being toxic and not knowing about it? I also took this a step further and I asked myself, can I find some truth in the things my narcissist ex has been criticizing me and accusing me of? For example, he was accusing me of emotional dumping because I would call him while he was at work when I was super upset about something he had done, like cheating on me. So I would detach myself from the fact that he was doing something bad, and I would confess to myself that negative or positive emotional dumping is toxic. I realized it runs in my family because me and my sister and my mother would call each other any time of the day, emotionally dumping all kinds of stuff on each other. And I decided I will change that and I will learn emotional regulation. So I've given you 2 examples already. I really hope you're getting the point. If you have attracted a narcissist with super toxic traits, it basically means that he's mirroring you in one way or another. The narcissist is acting like a magnifying glass to all the shadows you need to face and transform. In my Healing Starter Kit, which I have linked below this video, I have a shadow work playbook which you can use to get started with shadow work if you aren't sure how to do that. I also have an additional tutorial explaining how to use that book. The next piece of a narcissistic trauma bond healing puzzle was gaining my sense of worthiness and practicing radical self-love. By doing the shadow work, which I just talked about, this was so much easier because by constantly facing and transforming my shadows, I was able to start feeling authentic love and deep self-respect for myself. I started feeling like I'm really growing and deserving of a healthy, healed partner. I didn't stop there though. I started saying affirmations to reprogram my subconscious mind into believing that I'm worthy, that I'm whole, that it is safe for me to love and to be loved. I religiously repeated and I wrote down affirmations to reprogram my subconscious mind and my childhood conditioning. In my Healing Starter Kit, I have collected 108 of the most powerful affirmations which I personally used on my healing journey, along with over 100 more laser-targeted affirmations for the different limiting beliefs you probably have about love if you have been through a narcissistic trauma bond. These will help you massively, I promise. It is scientifically proven that 99% of our subconscious beliefs about us and our life manifest into our physical reality, which means that if you subconsciously believe that true love is hard to find, you will keep attracting partners who will match this belief. If you believe that relationships require sacrifice, you will keep attracting partners who require you to make some huge sacrifice in your life. I was saying these affirmations to reprogram my limiting beliefs and affirm a new future for myself like my life depended on it, because it actually did. And the final piece of my narcissistic trauma bond healing puzzle was actually healing my heart to open it to the flow of divine love. As I said before, going through a painful emotional experience is the biggest sign from God that you need to open your heart. The pain is here to help you open your heart and to make it more loving, more soft, more accepting. How I did that was through daily prayer and a few spiritual methods that I have been following since. I'm sharing a powerful heart coherence exercise in my Healing Starter Kit, which is going to massively help you apply these spiritual methods in your life today. In fact, they're truly magical and they have enormously enhanced each and every aspect of my life, because they not just purify your heart and open it up to divine love, they also cleanse your life from current and past karma, but I'll talk about that in another video. The first spiritual healing method is a truth diary. It's writing down every conscious, unconscious, or white lie you tell throughout the day and do your best to bring them down to zero. Lying, even white lies, act like energetic blocks and bring bad karma. Why? Well, God created us with His Word. And if you want to be a co-creator of your life and connect with your God consciousness, you need to be extremely meticulous about cleansing your Word. This is one of the deepest spiritual lessons I learned from a spiritual master, and it has been one of the biggest game changers on my journey. The second spiritual healing method also has to do with cleansing your Word, and it is about gossiping. Again, please get yourself when you're about to start gossiping and discussing another person, and stop yourself, unless you want to share your respect for them or praise them for their achievements. Otherwise, just remain silent. The third spiritual method to heal your heart is to practice radical love, kindness, and acceptance towards everyone you meet. This was something that I could very easily practice because I have been a life coach and a dance instructor for all my adult life, and I've always had interactions with so many people, so I would try to find at least one good quality in each and every person I meet and practice kindness, compassion, and acceptance towards them, even towards the people I didn't like at first. This doesn't mean becoming friends with people who aren't matching your values and your vibe. It simply means practicing kindness, acceptance, and compassion towards everyone, because we're all souls who are here to learn. These three spiritual practices, along with all the other practices I shared in this video and the tools in my Healing Starter Kit, led me to the biggest breakthrough in my life. It truly felt like a miracle. I was able to heal on such a deep emotional and mental level so fast that I also came up with a spiritual manifestation routine that I combined with the healing techniques that I'm sharing here. So I was able to attract my dream partner in just 9 months. Like 9 months, I was a new person. He showed up in my life in such a truly unexpected and miraculous way, but that's a whole other story for a whole other video, so make sure you follow and subscribe for that update. And I do love to connect with you in the comments below. Tell me what stage of your healing journey you're on right now and how I can further bring light onto your path.